Well, I mean, it's been better, you know. It's been better, considering yeah. So,
Yeah,
I I'm
and then some.
I tell you what, man, corporate media is gonna be working overtime to really do that false equivalence of both parties are the same after
Oh,
this
good God, yes.
this after the murder bill. I'm sorry, the big beautiful murder bill passed, you know. But they're
Oh
gonna do
yeah,
it.
they're gonna be like they're gonna be twisting themselves into pretzels to try and figure out how to blame both sides for this one.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's like, well, the Democrats are somehow to blame because they said mean things about Trump's parade or whatever they say.
Yeah, why didn't Democrats stop this? That's gonna be the thing. Why didn't Democrats stop it? Why
Right.
didn't they
Yeah.
try
Yeah. That'll
harder to
be it.
stop it?
That is absolutely going to be it. It's like, why didn't Democrats stop this? Don't they care about the Americans that Republicans are going to hurt? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be quite the shit show to watch.
Oh my God. I mean, it's going to be like, I I am continuously amazed at just the logic pretzels they twist themselves into to really just not say what needs to be said, you know? It's like Trump has an unusual relationship with factual with the reality of the US jobs market, which is challenging. So he's lying.
Well, I
It's
mean,
it's
that's one of the things I like when whatchamacallit, when yesterday, right?
yeah.
When ADP released those numbers and said, "Yeah, no, it's gonna be a huge loss, right? We're gonna lose jobs for the first time in like 4 years. It's gonna be 33,000 job loss." And Fortune magazine somehow, or Fortune, .com, whatever, like somehow managed to twist this into, well, it's going to be a bad jobs report, but is it good news for Trump? And it was like, are you fucking kidding me? Did you really do that? This was the headline. ADP says the private market sector is shrinking. That's bad news for the job market, but possibly great news for Trump. And it was like, are what? 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 Fuck you, right? But this is the pattern with the legacy press. This is the thing that
Yes.
they do all the time. All
Right.
good news for Democrats is actually bad news. Like,
Yes.
Democrats won the election. How is this? This is terrible news for Biden, and all bad news for Republicans is actually secretly good news.
Right. It's like Joe Biden's yeah, Joe Biden's job market outperforms expectations. Is this really bad news for Biden and his administration? It's like,
Yeah, it's like Joe Biden has had the greatest jobs market in half a century. How bad is this going to be for the midterms? It's like, you know what, man? Why don't you go fuck yourself?
seriously, dude. Like, it's astounding to me. It's astounding. I look at that I'm just like, wow. No wonder you and I actually have a platform because we shouldn't. Well, I mean, honestly, we really shouldn't because there should be a corporate media. It's like, guys, why are you guys talking? They've said everything that needs to be said. The New York Times is the gold standard of facts and analysis. And it's like, no, they're not.
No, no, they really aren't.
You
So
know,
Florida woman Rance has joined us, and she says, "Oh God, don't get him going about the press." Shut up, Florida woman. I will rant all I want about the press. They have it coming.
yes, they have it coming, Florida woman, and we are going to rant about the press because I enjoy Ogre's rants about the press because I'm the guy who's like, yeah, corporate media. I refuse to call them the legacy media. I will not do it. It's like, because legacy implies some kind of legitimacy. It implies some kind. I'm like, no, you're the corporate media. I refuse to call you legacy media. Not doing it anymore. It's like Washington Post. One time you may have been, the light in the darkness, but you're not. It's like, no, Jeff Bezos owns you now. That's who you are. You are a billionaire propaganda platform. You are not legacy media. I'm sorry.
See, I
We had
just call them legacy because to me that just gives them the connotation of old. You're the
Yes.
old media. You're the old legacy, worn out media, and you're dying. But mostly through suicide. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, no one killed the press. They killed themselves. They did it
Yes.
to themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just it's you. Why you the people I get information from are not in the legacy press anymore. Like I don't even bother. Somebody sends me an Atlantic piece. I'm like, okay, well, did the writer get put in a signal chat? Well, then no, I don't really care what they have to say. Did Hegseth drunk dial them? You know, like then no, I really could care less than what they have to say at this point because I get better information from independent operators and creators now. You know,
Exactly.
yeah.
I mean,
So
that's what Substack is for now, at least.
yeah, for now until the billionaire Jekyll and Hyde comes out and it's just like, all right, guys, we can't say Trump. You can only refer to Trump as a meanie. That's all you can say. He's just a meanie. We can't insult King Trump.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say things about the dear leader because we in this country believe in free speech, which means you could only say the things we say for free, the things
Yes,
we want you to say.
that's it. That's all. You cannot talk about what the Republicans did or didn't do. I'm actually surprised we didn't have a turncoat cross the line and vote for the big beautiful murder bill. Like I'm shocked actually that Democrats actually hung together on this one. But I mean it was so terrible that
I mean, it's
you
a
know
guaranteed loss of a seat for any Democrat that voted for it.
yeah.
I mean, there aren't really any red House Democrats at this point.
No, it's pretty much like split down. Like there's there's us where we're kind of a mix of corporatists and some progressives and then there's MAGA and the Trump party and the fascists. And that's it.
Yeah,
And
I was
I'm so sick of legacy media calling Lisa Murkowski a moderate. I'm so freaking tired of it.
Oh
She's
yeah,
not a
she's
moderate.
so full of shit. She is so they had to bribe the shit out of her, and even when she didn't get her bribes, she still voted for it.
Of course, because because Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski are there for one reason and one reason only to lend cover to the rest of the horribleness. That's it. They are fascists and they are because they're enabling fascists. That I'm sorry. There's no like and I mean I had a piece today where it's just like you had her after the vote. Well, it is just horrible, and I am shocked. You voted for it.
You fucking voted for it. You don't get to bitch about it now.
Yeah. Well, it was rushed. Okay. Is there a slow way to freaking kick people off Medicare and Medicaid? Like
Yeah, if it was Rush, you could have said, I'm not voting for it until we keep discussing it. And they would have had to keep discussing it. You could not have voted for it. And that would have been, that wouldn't have killed the bill
right,
necessarily, but that would have made the rest of your fucking Senate colleagues continue to have to fucking discuss it. You could have made that go as long as you wanted, but
right.
you didn't. So
No,
fuck you.
exactly. 100%. It's just these crocodile tears, like just like, oh, I was like, I didn't want to vote for this. This is so terrible. Then you could have voted present. Could have done that.
Yep.
And then maybe JD Vance doesn't get to freaking, breathe the tiebreaker. Could have done
You could have
that.
been John McCain with the thumbs down. You could have been the
Seriously.
thumbs down, but you didn't do it. So go
Right.
fuck yourself and your big sobby tears.
Exactly. Even John McCain wasn't as a maverick as the legacy press or, made him out to be. Right.
No,
And,
of course not.
but at least in that moment, right. He's just like, nah, no, you know, and, and again, I have more respect in this moment for Rand Paul than I do Lisa Murkowski. Because
I
at
know,
least
right? How fucking crazy is that?
isn't that nuts? Because I hate Rand Paul. Rand Paul's neighbor hates Rand Paul.
Enough
Okay.
to break some of his fucking ribs.
Right. Like, it's like, and he broke the guy's ribs when he was a senator. He's like, oh, you're my senator? I don't care. Bam. But I'm like, I'm listening to Rand Paul and I'm like, yeah, he's right. it's gonna run up the deficit. I mean, that's
At least
actually
he
out there.
stuck to his principles. He actually stuck to his fucking principles about it.
I at least I respect just that. It's like I hate everything else about you, but I respect that. With your aqua Buddha.
Yeah, if you're gonna be like, I won't vote for fucking increasing the deficit, and you actually refuse to vote to increase the deficit, I'll give you that. At least you're doing it for
Yeah,
both fucking parties. At least you're holding both parties to the same thing. If you refuse to do it and you refuse to do it, okay, fine. Then at least you mean it. At least
yeah,
you actually fucking mean it. The rest of Republicans, they just say it when Democrats are in charge. And the thing that drives me crazy about that is the press always goes, they still talk about them like they're deficit hawks. And a year from
yeah.
now, they're still going to call them deficit hawks. It's like, why? Why are you doing that? Why are you calling them deficit hawks? They've increased the deficit every single time they've been in power for the last 50 fucking years.
Yep.
You know they're not deficit hawks. You know
No.
it. But you keep lying about it to the public so the public believes it.
The last Republican president where deficits went down under his watch was Eisenhower.
Exactly.
That's it. That's and the last presidents where the deficit went down on the Democratic side under their watch was Biden, Obama, and Clinton. The last three, like
Right.
all the
But
deficits went
they
down.
never say where the deficit. They never say anything about Democrats lowering the deficit. They don't
Right.
talk about that. They refuse to talk about that. They're like, oh, tax and spend Democrats, tax and spend Democrats. It's like, but you know that's not fucking true.
No,
You know it's not true. So why are you pushing that lie? Because
I
Republicans tell you to.
I wish it was true because then the deficit, the debt would be lower, and we'd actually have a better economy that worked for most people. You know, if we taxed the rich and had programs to help everyone else, we'd have a better economy. So
Yep.
where are these tax and spend Democrats? I would like to donate to that party. Where's that party? You like, that's what kills me is like, where's the tax and spend Democrats? I want to see them. I want to meet them. I want to meet one because I don't see them, man.
Yeah, it's going to be, we're in for some real exciting times now that ICE is going to be a full on fucking Gestapo. Like,
Oh, dude.
they're going to be absolute full on secret police now.
Oh yeah, 100%. Gestapo, SS rolled all into one, and then now they get to build their concentration camps. I'm sorry, ICE detention centers.
No, no, no,
Yeah,
no. Concentration camps. They're just fucking concentration camps.
yeah.
Let's not even mince words here. And the crazy thing is, right? Like I've been saying this for years, and a lot of other people are picking up on it. Thank God. Every fucking Republican accusation is a confession, right?
Mhm.
Their whole
Yep.
thing was, they're using FEMA to build concentration camps. They used FEMA money to build concentration camps. So, there you go. And now they were screaming about IRS agents with guns are going to come and take you away. Well, now you're going to have ICE. They're hiring 10,000 more fucking ICE agents. They're going to give them guns, and they're going to have them show up and just start dragging people away in the middle of the fucking night. It's
See,
their wet fucking dream.
and see, normally in any other like in normal, whatever that is anymore, I'd be like, "Man, Ogre, you're going a little far, man. That's a little hyperbolic." Because I try to be just like, "All right, no, I agree with you," and and here's why: is one, we have all these crops, we have all this farm stuff that needs to be picked, we have all this work that needs to be done. Who are they going to get to do it? Go look at what they did to African Americans in Jim Crow South. That's what this is. They're going to put them in FEMA, they're going to put folks in FEMA camps, and they're going to stop at the undocumented part because Laura Loomer, she let the cat out of the bag. She said, "Oh, we got about 65 million that we need to get rid of." Oh, what's the Hispanic population in the United States of America?
65 million.
Right. So instead of just going to court hearings, they're going to be like Jimenez, like Javier. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, you're coming over here. And they're going to put them in camps, and they're going to put them on work details because again, well, they broke the law, so they got to work off that debt to the state. And I'm telling you, the other thing too, all this Gen Z stuff, because this I think this is where I'm getting, a little like, is when these corporations, the last thing that's left besides tax cuts and everything else is all this pay as you go stuff. I think we're gonna see debtors prisons again. Like, I think we're gonna see that. Like, all this stuff is like, hey man, all these folks that are getting like Uber Eats and oh, I'll just pay that later and getting the credit and everything else. They're gonna go to Trump and say, hey man, we got to get these people to pay it back. Oh, you have 5,000 in food debt. Okay, let's take you one of these camps. You can work it off. Oh, but you're gonna have to pay for your housing. You have to pay for the food while you there, and medical care, and
Oh,
water.
corporate towns.
Yep, I think that's.
Oh, they would desperately love to bring that back. They would desperately love to bring that back because they want serfs. That's what
Yes.
they want. They want us all to be reduced back to serfs.
Yep, it's like where all the wealth is concentrated at the top. I mean, they've said it. It sounds nuts, but that's what they want, right? And everything they do moves us closer and closer. And if I sound like a crazy person, remember, 6 years ago, if I said, let's say 2018, I was like, oh yeah, Trump's not going to leave office. They're going to have people storm the Capitol on January 6th, and try to overturn the election by having a fake elector scheme. You'd looked at me like I was crazy, but it happened. It happened. I seriously think they're gonna call like the the freedom to repay act or some crap.
Yeah, they'll give us some crazy fucking upside down name and be like, oh yeah, no, this is great for America's economy. Slave labor.
Yeah, it's like, well, we can't just have a rash of bankruptcies, and those Gen Z, they're lazy, they're not doing anything. So we're gonna go ahead and put them in the military service, and then they're gonna be forced to pay back their labor. So it's like you can serve 4 years and then you're debt free. It's like, and you made no money, and then basically you're just flat broke if they let you out of the military. If you don't get stop loss for something, and I could see that coming on. Because it's like they built a concentration camp in the Everglades,
Right.
and they're bragging about it, and corporate media is just like, oh well, yeah, I guess you do that, sure. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the thing. All right. The thing with the media is no matter what the right does,
yeah,
they'll find a way to normalize it, and no matter what we say, they'll be like, "Oh, you're exaggerating," until they do it, and then they're like, "Well, it's not that bad." It's like, but that's what we said they were going to do, and you told us we were full of shit. Now they're doing it, and you're telling us it's not that big a deal. When is it too big of a deal?
right.
When is there a line that they cross that's too much for you? At
Right.
what point? When is it too much? Like right now with the concentration camps, we know what happens in concentration camps.
Yeah.
Right? It's mass murder, sexual assault. Wait until they start sending kids there, because these people, I mean, my God, there's so many fucking pedophiles on the right. And they're going to start sending kids there, and God, they're going to do terrible things to these fucking kids. And we're going to find out about it, and the press is going to be like, oh, that's such a terrible tragedy. Terrible. Oh, it's an aberration. It's like, no, it's not a fucking aberration. They were going to do this the entire fucking time, and we told you they were going to fucking do it, and you told us, no, they weren't, and then they did it, and what? Now you're just going to brush it under the fucking rug and pretend it's not happening, but they're going to keep doing it.
Yep.
When are you going to fucking report on it like it's the actual fucking nightmare that it is? When are you going to crusade on it like you did Joe Biden's age?
Right. Oh yeah, because that's the real. No. New York Times is too busy, reporting on the fact that men are wearing more blue suits now. Interesting.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, and they show JD Vance and Pete Hegseth. It's like, or is it men are wearing more blue suits, or is it just Trump's got two toadies that that's the uniform of a Trump?
Yeah, you got to wear a blue suit and a long stupid red tie.
Yeah, that goes past your navel. It's like, and apparently I'll give him at least this, even though he's a drunk. Apparently Pete Hegseth's the only one that understands you wear brown shoes with a blue suit and not black. Freaking
yeah,
idiot.
Florida woman rants points out that they're going to start rounding up the babies that they refuse to give American citizenship to, put them in these camps, and they're going to disappear because
Mhm.
babies are worth a lot of money on the fucking black market for pedophiles.
Yeah. Well, it's anytime you have a government organization that is supposed to be transparent. Because remember all the people that were just all up in arms about Edward Snowden and all this other stuff that was going on,
Mhm.
back then?
Yep.
And so we can't even go into ICE facilities. We can't, our representatives can't even go into, who are supposed to have full access, cannot go and see what's going on. There's no inspector general, there's no reporting. Like ICE agents, which I don't believe they're agents, like under the color of law. I think they're just a bunch of bounty hunters, don't have warrants, don't have identification, wear masks. Yeah, that just screams legality. Oh, so that screams color of law. 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know,
Fucking Nuremberg them all. Nuremberg them
yes,
all. Every single one of them, Nuremberg trials. All of them.
we have to. There is no, we have to move on for the good of the country. It cannot happen at this point because once we get through this, and I think we will get through this, there has to be a freaking reckoning. It has to happen. Like, no. Mm-mm. Because it's going to get worse, unfortunately.
Oh no, it's absolutely going to get worse, and we have to document every fucking crime they commit because when it's
Yep.
over, hangman's noose. Hangman's noose for every single fucking one of them. Everyone that commits their fucking crimes against humanity, they get the noose.
See, I'm more, I guess you would say, humane than you, Ogre. I am because I
I'm
want to
an
put the.
ogre. I'm not human. I'm
I
not
know, I
humane.
know, I know. That's why I'm a little more humane, a little more merciful. I just want to put them in supermax lockdown for the rest of their life. Single cell, 23 hours a day, only 1 hour yard time. That's what I want. you know and then it's just, and so when anybody thinks about doing this kind of crazy stuff again, we just kind of go, hey, come here, let me show you this. See that? That's a former president. Huh? But he's dead. I know. We keep his body in state just to show you. Sorry, that was the veteran in me coming out. It's like, yeah, that's J.D. Vance, the vice president, everybody. Yeah, he gets to shower once a week. You know, Look at that. It's like, yep. No, it's like, the hangman's noose to me is, well, too good for him. We got all these supermax prisons, man. Let's put them there. You know, like, absolutely. I think we put them there. You know,
No, see, I get that impulse, but I don't know, man. Like, I don't mind spending the money to keep people in jail, but I'm really, really of the opinion that they should be like just strung up.
I mean, that's what they did in Nuremberg.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I'll be like, oh well, like,
Yeah.
but there needs to be an accountability. There needs to be People need to be held to account for this crap. We can't just move past it because this is
No looking forward, no moving, no, let's looking forward to the future. No, we have to move on for the good of the nation. The good of the nation is tribunals and string them up.
Yeah. I mean, there has to be some kind of reckoning, and it has to happen to the enablers too. Like, like, it has to, it has to be lawful, and it has to happen to all their enablers in power. Ogre is a man on a mission. He is
Nuremberg them all.
He
Balls
is a
out to
man.
Nuremberg. I've got my noose ready. I'm ready.
I'll say
guilty.
I will say this is, we can build supermax prisons. That's economic stimulus.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's construction jobs.
We can build it with the money that we seize back from the billionaires for the state. Like,
yes, Dana wants to know if that's a noose. That is in fact a noose. I have my little hangman's noose ready. I'm ready for the Nazis. This is how you deal with a Nazi.
I mean, I'm merciful. I say we let them build the prison, and then if the noose is involved, it is what it is. So
All right.
Oh,
So the point of today's show, which, was half an hour ago, we were supposed to be talking about the jobs report today.
oh, was it? Is that what we're supposed to do? Okay.
Yeah, the jobs report, which I don't believe for a hot minute.
No. Oh my God, no. I
We did have to
believe
talk about the other stuff, but yeah, we do have to talk about that jobs report.
I believe it was the what Maria Bartiromo read on the news when she read that number, and her face was aghast, and they had some producer was in her ear and going like, "Go, talk about this,"
Yeah, it's like, don't talk about that. It's terrible. Shut up.
right. And somebody from the Trump department, I guess, called labor force management and just said, "All right, we're going to do the Sharpie." And the boss wants 147 million.
The Sharpie.
Yeah, he got the Sharpie out, and it's like, hey, there's a fax coming through, and it was just a blank sheet of paper with a Sharpie. It said, "Is like, what is that? Is that a plane? I think it's 147,000, dude." It's like, I don't know. It looks like a plane. No, it's a duck. Wasn't good to tell. They're like, but that's Trump's signature right there.
Hold on. Let's see. Where's my Sharpie? I gotta find a Sharpie here.
You got to place looking for a
Here we go.
Sharpie.
Here we go. There we go.
There it is.
There it is. Fixing the jobs report, one Sharpie at a time.
That is the Trump economic policy right there. When
we don't like the numbers, just get the Sharpie.
The Sharpie. It's like, I'm surprised the Sharpie's not a cabinet secretary at this point. I mean, Nero had a horse as a consul. Trump should have a Sharpie as a cabinet secretary. I'd like to introduce the cabinet secretary of labor force management, Mr. Sharpie. He's
that
like
would be amazing.
He's like Clippy. Clippy always was good to me. When I would use the word processor, and then it's like somebody kind of comes to him and is like, okay, the dementia brain's got him. We gotta shift him over here.
Oh my God, shut him up for the day. Someone give him a nap.
Right. I tell you, like, it went from native 33,000 to 147,000 plus. And it's like, really? Part of me wonders I wonder what the Biden numbers were. And if he's just like, well, Biden did this much, so I want to do more. It's got to be biglier.
So much for cabinet secretary Sharpie.
No, Sharpie.
Why
did you sell out to the Trump administration? I told you it was going to end like this. Yeah.
So originally they were predicting 110,000, and then ADP, who usually releases numbers like unofficial numbers early, they said they were looking at like a negative 33,000, right? That we'd lost 33,000 jobs.
Yeah.
And then the jobs report came out this morning, and it was miraculous. We gained 147,000 jobs, 30,000 more than expected, which, nothing suspicious about that at all.
No.
Nothing suspicious about that at all. Just happens to be the number plus another 30,000. Yeah. So another 37,000. Like, yeah, okay. Sure. Nothing weird about that. Now, ADP, to be fair, they're not always accurate, right?
No.
But they're not generally off by that much.
No.
And not for nothing. Unemployment was supposed to drop, was supposed to go up to 4.3, and it dropped to 4.1 instead. Praise fat orange Jesus. Miracle. It's a miracle of miracles. But you can't trust anything that comes out of this fucking regime. Nothing.
No.
Right?
God, no.
These are the people who just a couple of weeks ago lied about the size of the parade crowd, right? They said there was 250,000 people when we could all see on camera how few people were actually there. And they said, no, the No Kings protest, right? They were like, nobody there. It was empty when we could all see the massive crowds all over the fucking country. We could all see that. And it was like, okay, but we all see the pictures. We all see the video. We could all see live streams of it. We know you're lying. So what? We're supposed to believe you? Are you
Yeah.
fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Now,
And here's
go
the
ahead.
crazy. I got something for you though. I was talking to a buddy of mine this morning, and we were going over the job report. We're going back and forth. He's like, he said exactly what you just said. Like, we can see the bleachers. He goes, man, you need to say that. That's really good. I said, opinionated ogre already did it this morning. And he goes, because he kept telling me, no, you need to say it because then you could be first. You'll be the first one to say it. I said, opinionated ogre already did that, dude. I'm doing a live with him later. He goes, well, screw him for being so smart.
That would not be the first person who's actually said that to me. I get that a little bit more frequently than I would like.
I was like, I'm gonna tell you, he said it. He's like, I was like, it is. He goes, well, it is a smart take. I was like, why? Because you came up with it, and I said, ogre beat you to the punch. but that's the other thing that killed me is like when we, bombed Iran, right? Which that's still whatever's gonna happen there. And everyone was like,
Middle East war.
yeah. And everybody was like, oh, that was a smart move. I got to give it up to him, blah, blah, blah. It's like, if he took out their nuclear capabilities, I'm like, Donald Trump lies.
But he didn't.
He lies. It's like, this is stupid. And I said it from the beginning was like, it's stupid because the people in charge are stupid. And God knows where any of this goes. They're not going to be able to handle it, especially if we missed. And it turned out we missed. And even Iran was like, kind of clowning us. They're like, and that's kind of weak sauce, guys. We really expected more bombs than that.
Yeah, we intercepted one of their internal conversations. They're like, yeah, we were kind of expecting them to do more damage than that. What the fuck happened? Which is like, that's embarrassing. When they're talking about themselves saying, what the fuck happened? How did they fuck that up? That's embarrassing.
That's it. It's like we were the guy talking smack to the chick, and then we ended up at the house, and she's like, that was it? Like,
well,
it's like
tiny mushroom dick. So
yeah. Well, again, that's what we, according to Stormy Daniels' testimony on the record, I guess that's what America, like the international community, can expect from us.
Morgan X says about Trump's crowd size. Stormy should have been interviewed to estimate his crowd size. Bump bump.
Oh Lord, like. Oh, dude. And so again, everything the guy does is lie. So why are we believing? And what was it? Doge fired a lot of these analysts. They went through specifically.
The ones they didn't fire, like whatchamacallit, like a month ago, Tulsi Gabbard, right? That's Florida woman's favorite person. She loves.
Oh yeah, Florida woman loves her.
Oh yeah,
loves her.
Yeah, she fired 2 analysts because they wrote up a report that told the truth about Tren de Aragua and Venezuela, right? And that they weren't like working with each other, that they weren't being sent by Venezuela. And they fired those out. She fired those analysts because they didn't lie in their report. And numerous other government employees have been fired for refusing to lie. But we're supposed to believe that they haven't done anything to corrupt the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
Oh, no, why would they? No.
Right, really. We're supposed to believe that.
Yeah, because they just put a 22-year-old who his last job was a grocery clerk in charge of our counterterrorism response as a seat filler.
Oh, my fucking God. I saw that, and I wanted to just throw myself off the balcony, but I don't live high enough, so that really wouldn't help.
Well, plus you might mess up your garden, too, and that would be just a
That's true. I really love my garden.
Right. I just want to point out that Florida woman Rants just said that, oh my God, I think it was OMG, Tulsi Gabbard is my bestie, and then there were several hearts that followed it. Like,
she's actually a huge fan of hers, and she loves her hair.
Yes, like she's like, oh my gosh, we are such besties. It's kind of bordering on like a stalking obsession, I think. So.
Well, she used to stalk me, but now she has to find someone else to stalk. So.
I mean, honestly, it's so that's why it's just like what killed me was CNBC reported this morning, the 147,000 jobs number, uncritically. It looked like a freaking White House press release. There was no clarification, nothing. It's just like, oh, well, they had a better month than expected. Really?
Yeah, it's like, really? Really? You're not going to question that at all. You're not going to be like, that's a little odd, because
Right.
every other indication suggests that we should not have job growth right now.
Not at all. It's like, I guess all these I know it's, it's anecdotal evidence. All these videos, all these fields just lying, like crops rotting, construction, layoffs, the trucking industry being in the toilet, the losses from the revenue, from the airline industry, like all across the board, damn near every other industry. So that's just
right. And if
okay.
you look at the numbers, so, all right, so government was the largest chunk of this, 73,000 jobs. Now, that's not federal government, that's state and local. But state and local governments have been getting squeezed by the downturn. They've been getting squeezed. So why are they hiring? How are they hiring? Everyone's been getting squeezed by this, but they're hiring? That doesn't sound suspicious at all. Okay, fine.
Here's the trick of it, though, right? This is how you know it's BS. The biggest jump was in seasonal. So seasonal workers fall into that special category where it's harder to track them, right? Because businesses report that, and so they report everything, but if there's a number you can fudge that sounds fine in the summertime, it's that. But if tourism is down and construction is down and farm work is down, that's the big three for seasonal workers. So,
well, even the report's supposed to be seasonally adjusted, right? They do it for seasonally adjusted, and they still have leisure and hospitalities up, which doesn't make any sense since tourism is down by a lot, right? I poked around on that. So, 4th of July, still going to be busy. This is going to be a busy 4th of July, but international tourism is down. We've lost like $12 billion in international tourism so far. Vegas alone, just Las Vegas, has lost 6.5% of its traffic so far this year.
Mm-hmm. All you got to do is look at the Nevada unemployment numbers.
Right. So how is leisure and hospitality up if we're still going on vacation here for now. But if we're losing a huge chunk of international tourism, we as a country, like domestically, we're not increasing our vacationing to make up for that. So how is leisure and hospitality up? It can't. We cannot be filling in that loss. It's impossible, especially if so many people are we are as a country very, very concerned that a recession is on its way. And when people know a recession is on its way, we don't spend a ton of money to go on vacation. That's not how we react to an impending recession.
No. 100%.
Now, yeah, on top of that, right? Construction was another one where jobs are up. And it's like, okay, that's bullshit right there, right? Florida woman, her husband works in construction. And he's been telling her for months that jobs are down all over the place. Construction is just down. And this is in Florida, where they're still trying to rebuild from the last hurricane. And if their jobs are down in there, then they're down everywhere.
Yep.
So don't tell me construction is up. That's bullshit. There's no fucking way construction is up. If they're, especially because most construction jobs are immigrants and they're just not showing up for work.
No.
Because, ICE is raiding everybody. So if you don't got people working, well, then you're not filling those fucking jobs. And there's no fucking way white guys are showing up to do those jobs. It's not happening.
No.
White American men are not taking those jobs, and they're not taking leisure and hospitality. That is not a thing that fucking happens. They don't take those jobs. They don't want them. And if they're
No.
not taking them, they're not getting filled. So I just don't, these numbers do not ring true to me in any way, shape, or form at all.
God, no. And the other problem too is, okay, let's just say, because the hard part to unpack with construction is basically those deals get made years in advance, right? Say 2 to 3 years beforehand. The housing inventory, the bubble right now is worse than it was preceding the '08 crash.
Can't
Right?
wait.
No, yeah. The housing inventory is freaking insane right now. So the Denver area, like the Denver metro area, the housing prices have dropped on average. I think we're in a slump. They're going down 9%. So like in some
Damn.
areas. Yeah, it's well, the problem is Denver got to a spot where it had DC prices on food, on housing, on rent, and there's no reason it should be that high, right? And so it's like in my neighborhood when I moved in here, my mom and my sister lived in Lone Tree, and then we moved to Castle Rock in 2020. For 3 years, man, it was like a unicorn sighting if you saw a for sale sign. Like
Wow.
you just didn't see houses, and they were building here in Parker. Like, I mean, homes were just popping up. Like, you'd be driving down the road and you're all of a sudden like, damn, man, when they put that subdivision up? What the hell? You know, and they just went up. And so, but now over the past 3, 4 months, I'm seeing not only for sale signs go up, they're staying up. They're not
Ooh,
being sold.
that's not a good sign.
Yep.
No pun
And
intended.
they're staying up and they're staying on the market because so like, and I talked to a woman, I walk her dog. She just had a newborn, met her neighbors. This was in a neighborhood. Her house was like 330 when she bought it. It's like a 2 or 3 bedroom house. It's worth like 660. It's valued at 660 now. Neighbors about the same. And she said, when I bought this house, she bought it in 2018. She's like, it had been on the market for like 2 days. That house, her
Yep.
neighbor, has been on the market for 4 weeks now. They've had 3 showings.
Oof.
That ain't good.
And it's
Like,
only going to get worse.
yep. Because the more houses go on the market, right? Oof. Oh yeah, shout out to Black Mountain, North Carolina. I know where that's at. That's
Oh,
right
yeah,
around where I used to live.
that's one of That's one of Florida woman's favorite places in the whole world.
That was about 45 minutes from where I used to live because I lived in Tri-Cities, Tennessee. So Johnson City, Kingsport, Bristol. I know exactly where Black Mountain is. No,
Yeah,
I
geez,
just
loved it.
oh yeah, I know exactly where that is. But yeah, I mean the housing market in Florida is awful. The housing market in Colorado, Denver area is awful. Austin, the average because of Austin got hit especially hard. Where Joe Rogan went to and like, oh yeah, Austin, blah blah. It's down 30%. And and here's the other thing that's coming that's not being talked about a lot is the white collar layoff. That's going to be coming soon because of AI.
Oh, yeah.
That's what's happening. If you're looking for what that's possibly going to look like, you look at Austin, Texas, because so in Austin, they used to have a city ordinance where you couldn't build higher than the state capital, right? So there wasn't a lot of expansion there. They got rid of that, and so all these tech companies rushed in and they built up these big buildings. Well, commercial real estate went in the toilet, right? And then all the housing they built up around Austin, because of all the massive tech layoffs, which has been happening, the housing market's damn near collapsed. They're down 30% from where they
Gee.
were. That's 2 years ago. That's horrible. Like that's '08 Florida bad. So it's I mean, dude, Del Monte filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, not restructuring. Del Monte filed for like they've been in business for 139 years.
Wait, Del Monte as in the fruit company?
Yep.
Holy shit.
And when they wrote that up, it was I read it when they wrote it up. It was like, well, they filed for bankruptcy. I mean, I don't know what it could it be. I don't know. Maybe tin is made from steel, and Trump slapped a 50% tariff on it. So there's that, and then plus produce has gone up because it's not being picked. And then here's the double whammy they got hit with. Guess where their international exports are? South Korea, the Philippines, China, Japan, the EU. Oh, and who got hit with boycotts and tariffs on American food? All those
Womp,
countries.
Womp womp.
And so not only does it cost you more to actually make each can, you can't jack the prices up here and pass that on to the consumer because, well, they're just going to go somewhere else or they're just going to do without. And not only that, you can't compete abroad.
Jesus. Yeah, but that's the Trump economy. That is the Trump economy. I swear to God, this is why I'm trying to grow my own fucking vegetables on my balcony.
Dude, it's funny because I have I have a pantry of stocked food. I've got a freezer full of meat. My sister's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Hey man, I started doing prep. I started becoming a prepper, like a mini prepper, like I don't know, 8 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, and I do not regret it.
I'm telling you, man. I'm just like, yeah. I have no idea where this goes, but the problem is, just like with the pandemic, the idiots are in charge. So if a calamity happens, you don't have the people in that you want in. Like you want a guy like Joe Biden in there, right? Because
but he's old. He's old. He's old. No. We can't have old people in charge unless they're Republican. Republican old people are okay. We don't talk about Trump's age. Only Biden's. Old. Okay.
Joe Biden still uses a Rolodex. We can't have him in charge.
Yeah, meanwhile, fucking Trump keeps using his goddamn cell phone, which is hacked by every fucking spy agency in the world. But that's okay. It doesn't matter because he's Donald Trump and it doesn't matter how old he is. Okay. I'm fine now.
You sure?
Yes, I'm fine.
Do you want me to show you pictures of all the classified documents that were in his bathroom in Mar-a-Lago with the chandelier? I mean, I could.
No, we're not allowed to talk about that anymore. That case has been dropped. That's not a crime.
That's right. It wasn't.
It was his president. It was part of his presidential duties, so he's immune.
Nice. It was his presidential duties. So. Well, he needed reading material when he was in there, and so did every other spy that or foreign agent that came to.
Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lock on it. They might have had a sign on it that said, "Please do not read classified documents. That would be very bad for America."
If you're going to steal these and you sell them to another government, please make sure the House gets a cut of the proceeds.
Seriously, man. Oh my God. It's just, and again, the news media is like, huh? Oh, no. We can't, we can't get umbraged on that. Why would we do that? Why would we get mad about that? Guys, they're just documents, Yeah. I honestly have no idea where any of this goes. I think they won't cancel the midterms just because Republicans, they'll want to be able to have someone else to blame because by the time they're done and they get to that, they're going to go, we really don't like being in charge, guys. We just want to bomb throw. Can you please come in and take power, Democrats, kind of, so we can blame you, please?
Well, they're definitely going to, I don't think they're going to do anything to stop the House, right? Because it would be too many different races and it's too difficult to do.
Yeah.
My current working theory is that they're going to try to keep control of the Senate. And the way that they're going to do that is Ohio and Iowa.
Yeah. I could see that.
Those two states, it's Husted and Ernst. And they're not in good places right now. I'm sorry, not Husted and Ernst. No, yeah, Huston and Ernst. So it's Iowa and Ohio. They're not in good position right now, right?
No.
They're unpopular. They're not doing well. And if Democrats put in someone good, if they get good candidates, then this bill is so immensely unpopular, and it's going to start doing really, really bad things really, really fast. And when ICE goes on its fucking rampage, people are going to get really, really mad. Like, even Republicans are going to be like, hey, I like the fascism, but maybe not quite like that, right? Like, they love fascism, but they don't like the Nazi stuff, and that's what
Yeah.
they're going to be getting. So, all Democrats have to do is put good candidates in, and they're going to lose control of the Senate. And they don't want to lose the Senate because Senate lets them appoint judges. They need the Senate, especially the Supreme Court. They have to have control of the Supreme Court because if they lose the Senate, that means Alito and Clarence Thomas have to resign immediately. They have to.
Why would they, and I'm curious, like, why would they have to resign? Why would it Leo and right, so Trump can appoint 2 new ones? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you're right.
Because it's 6-3 right now. And those guys are in their late 70s. Or they're in their 70s. And they won't make if Democrats control the Senate going into 2029 and Trump loses,
Yeah.
right.
There you go.
This is the thing I've been trying to explain to people. Everything depends on controlling the Supreme Court. All of it. Everything. If Republicans lose control of the Supreme Court and there's a Democrat in the White House, it's all over. Everything ends for them. They have to control the Supreme Court, which means they have to be able to replace Alito and Thomas. They have to. They need to be able to lock that in for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
Of course, that's assuming we don't just dissolve the Supreme Court as completely illegitimate and replace it, or just expand the court by adding like another 5 seats, which we can do anytime we want once we have a majority again. But they have to keep the Senate in Republican hands, because if they don't get to replace those 2 guys, then they're in trouble, because they're going to die sometime in the next 6 to 7 years. And if there's a Democrat in the White House and the Senate's in Democratic hands and they haven't finished their, Nazi takeover, they have a problem. So I would put it that the Republican governor and Republican legislature in Ohio and Iowa would try to cancel their election or push it off for another year or 2.
Yeah, basically like the same, pretty much kind of a similar thing they did in North Carolina. All the shenanigans they tried to do. This last part, I think, what was it? Yeah, it wasn't so much for the governor's race, but was it a judgeship? I think it was a judgeship where they tried to pull all crap.
They were trying to they were trying to flip the results. They didn't cancel the election. They were trying to flip the results. Miami is trying to push off an election by another year, right? There's an off-year election and they're trying to push it back a year with illegally. Like, there's a process for how to do that or how to change it. And they're not following it because they want to keep the Republicans in power, in those seats for another year. So, that's super illegal what they're doing. And they're just trying to do it because it's like a test run. It is a test run to see, can we delay an election and have the court sign off on it? Because everything they do is a test run for something else, for a power grab somewhere else.
Oh, of course. It's just because that's the nature of extremism. It doesn't just stop. It's like, well, we've been extreme enough. Like, it's time to stop. It's like, no, it just keeps going. Like a cancer, if you will.
Yep. And what do you do with the cancer? You cut it out. Or in this case, you Nuremberg it. You can Nuremberg a cancer if it's a Nazi and it has a swastika tattoo. Nuremberg.
Right.
Nuremberg them all.
That's it. I mean, look, I'm kind of more of like the Inglourious Bastards thing. Let's just get like maybe a brand, and we'll put a big M right there on their forehead.
Yeah,
Which
but
is
those are the ones
unlawful.
that survived. The rest of them, they just fucking kill.
Right. That's it. It's just like, dude, honestly, man. I mean, it's gonna have to be like a Nuremberg style, like something. I don't think there's
Yeah,
gonna be truth and reconciliation on this one.
yeah, we'll get the truth and reconciliation after the Nuremberg trials.
There you
The
go.
ones, all the ones that we don't hang or put in jail for life, then we do the truth and reconciliation. But first, Nuremberg.
I love it. I love it. Don't worry. If it gets bad, we'll just fudge the numbers. So that's the new norm.
Yeah, that's what the Sharpie's for.
I love it. I love 147,000. Get me out of here, man. Like, what? Might as well just say 247,000 at that point.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm expecting unemployment to get down to 2%.
Oh yeah, some ridiculous notion, and then it's like everyone will somehow think it's like, man, it's really bad here. I guess it must be great everywhere else. Yeah, it's that's how it's going. Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump has the lowest unemployment ever in recorded history because the economy is so good, and all those bread lines you're seeing aren't real. They're actors. They're actors hired by the Democrats to make the Führer look bad. I mean, the dear leader. I mean, Donald Trump look bad.
That's it. Donald Trump has completely wiped out the debt. I was like, well, how did he do that? He just took a Sharpie to it and said, no more debt.
Well, he's actually threatened to do that. He's actually threatened to not pay the debt. Like, the countries that have a bunch of our debt, he's like, well, we don't actually have to pay that. It's like, oh, so you're just going to crash the entire world economy. Okay. That's probably not going to go the way you think it will. But, good luck with that, buddy.
Well, he could always do what he did apparently with this Vietnam deal, where it's just like, okay, here's what we'll do. I need a deal. You can get a 20%, you can give us a 20% tariff, but then we give you nothing. And Vietnam's like, I'm sure.
Art of the deal, baby. Art of the deal.
Yeah.
All right, man. It's been an hour. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, let's do it, man. I love it. I was like, I was like, man, I got to talk to Ogre today. I haven't talked to him in a minute, and we got to talk about, these job numbers. Like, don't believe it, folks. Man. It's BS. And there's gonna be more. Whereas, like,
yeah, I mean, maybe they weren't lying to us, but honestly, do we actually believe that? No.
I probably would have believed 47,000. Like, you'd have just done that,
Yeah, but you just can't you can't give them any benefit of the doubt. They haven't earned it. They haven't earned any benefit of the doubt in any way whatsoever. They've lied about every single thing. So I have no reason to believe this in any. It's not even, I'm all about the conspiracy now. I'm conspiracy now. No, I'm not. They just haven't given me any reason to believe a single fucking thing that they say. Nothing.
Ever. On anything. They lie about obvious stuff, right? And so you can't trust anything they say.
Yep, 250,000 people were in D.C. for the parade. Okay, but were they invisible? Were they the blades of grass? What? Were they hiding?
Well, we counted, one person 5 times, and so then every person was 5 times.
Man, even that wouldn't have gotten them there. There wasn't enough people for that. That still would have only gotten them to 50,000.
We with all the cameras there and everything else, man, it's just gaslighting. So I don't believe it. 147,000. And even that with Biden had numbers like that, and it's like, Biden has 200,000 new jobs created. Unemployment goes up 0.1%. It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, so one of the things, before we wrap this up, one of the things CNN said is that one of the reasons that unemployment might have gone up is that the workforce has been reduced, right? Because so many people, people have left the country, right? Partly from his immigration, but partly because they're like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And That's not really a good thing.
No.
Because if you're shrinking the workforce, again, these are the people working the jobs that regular Americans won't work.
Yep.
We're not going out into the fields to pick crops. They tried this in Georgia. Georgia got rid of all the undocumented migrants who were working the fields, and then they lost billions of dollars because the crops rotted. They tried to send people who were in prison. They said, we will take time off of your jail sentence if you go pick crops. They went out there for 1 or 2 days and said, you know what? Fuck that. I'll stay in jail. Bye. I'll serve out the rest of my sentence. I'm not doing this fucking job. That's how fucking much we don't want to do these jobs.
I did that when I was a teenager in East Tennessee, hanging tobacco, which is not even close to what those folks do. I've worked on a flight line again, which is outside, not even close to what those folks do. It's hard work, man. Working outdoors in the elements is hard work. And I worked in a job where I got breaks, and it's still hard work. It's not fun.
And now they fucking pass laws saying, they don't have to give you breaks. You don't have to get water breaks. It's like, okay, so you're just going to work them to death. Cool. Got it. And then what? You're just going to fucking go back to the prisons and get more slave labor? How's that going to fucking work if you keep killing them? Which, of course, is what Laura Loomer wants because she's a fucking sociopath.
Right. And she needs to, yeah. Real quick, you mind if I say something about my mom, or is that,
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So Morgan asked about my mother. So for those of you who don't know, my mother has dementia and she fell about a month ago. We moved her into a memory care unit in Parker, Colorado. It's going well, but the struggle with that was we have to pay 90 days before her long-term care kicks in, because even though she's a retired federal employee and she has Blue Cross Blue Shield, for some reason you got to pay 90 days before it kicks in. So yeah, I don't know why about all that. But there's a GoFundMe on my page. If you'd like to donate, I would appreciate it. It's absolutely on my page. So thank you very much if you're so inclined to do that. And thank you for letting me say that, Ogre. I really appreciate it, man.
You got it.
So anyway, dude, we got to do this again. 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, we should, once I get a puppet for Florida Woman, we'll have to have her come on.
I'm gonna be attacked by puppets. It's like, oh my God, that's terrible.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later.
Brother.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Have a good one, dude.
Bye.
Bye.
Mommy, I did it.